animals raining from the sky, sounds like some sort of biblical plague, or maybe some kind of magic. But, believe it or not, this actually happens. Throughout the centuries, there have been times where live animals just randomly fall from the sky, and science can't always fully explain how it happens. From fish to insects, these animals confuse and distress people. Worst of all, they sometimes cost tons of money in damage. So today, I'm going to tell you about 10 times animals rain down from the sky. 1. Gaggle of Geese in Idaho. While there were no witnesses for the actual event, 51 geese turned up dead in an Idaho Falls parking lot on April 7, 2018. The birds were all clumped together in a pile and soaking wet. Experts think the geese were likely struck by lightning, causing the sudden group death. 2. Perch in Lahamanu. What's worse than fish rain? How about 2 whole days of fish rain? In 2010, a pretty big year for animal rain, apparently, the little town of Lahamanu, Australia, was treated to a ton of fish pouring out of the sky. This desert town has about 650 residents, but, in 2010, it was also home to hundreds of perch in early March. For 2 days the fish rained down intermittently, still alive, when they hit the ground. Some residents also reported that this isn't the first time fish have rained from the sky on their little locale. Scientists suggest this was caused by a tornado, but that doesn't make it any less bizarre for onlookers. 3. Frozen iguanas in Florida. In January 2018, Florida's temperature dipped below 40 degrees Fahrenheit, an unusually cold temperature for the normally warm Sunshine State. Green iguanas, commonly found in Miami suburbs, ended up frozen and immobilized due to this unseasonable chill. Iguanas get sluggish if temperatures fall below 50, and apparently are outright immobile when it drops below 40. As a result, many petrified iguanas fell from the branches of trees and other perches. Florida residents reported seeing frozen iguanas lying on the streets, near swimming pools, and in backyards. 4. Flying foxes in Australia. In New South Wales, Australia, an unprecedented heatwave caused temperatures to skyrocket over 104 degrees Fahrenheit. As a result, many of the area's flying foxes were literally boiled alive. Volunteers and animal rights groups tried desperately to save the overheated foxes, but it is estimated over 1,000 died as a result of the hot temperatures. 5. Spiders in Brazil. Brazil is home to hundreds of spider species, which is fascinating to many nature lovers and terrifying to many arachnophobes. No matter where you fall on the spider-loving spectrum, it's safe to assume no one wants them to literally rain from the sky. Unfortunately for Brazil, this actually happened in 2013. Literally thousands of small and large spiders fell from the sky, and began weaving webs almost instantly, coating the land like a creepy crawly blanket. This isn't even the first time this has happened. Brazil, Australia, and even parts of the United States have supposedly seen spider rain at some point in history. Scientists explained that this phenomenon is caused when high winds blow spiders from their tree homes and blow them up into the air. When they fall back to the ground, they detach webs as anchors to attach to trees. 6. Tiny frogs in Hungary. In Hungary, in 2010, tiny frogs only a few millimeters in size came down with the rain to the surprise and dismay of locals. This can be caused by high winds, waterspouts, or even a tornado. This seems to have happened more than once in various parts of Hungary over a 2-day span, with the worst of it being in Rákosafalva. Depending on how the wind blows, it could even happen again. 7. Worms in Jennings. In the city of Jennings, in 2007, worms were the subject of much conversation. Why? Because the place was rained on at random by a ton of worms. Clumps of tangled worms fell out of the sky, coating the streets, trees, and pelting random horrified onlookers with wiggly pink worminess. People still aren't sure how or why exactly it happened, but it's safe to say that residents hope it will never happen again. 8. Frozen squid in the Falkland Islands. In June of 1997, a man was having a nice fishing outing in the Falkland Islands when a strange and confusing tragedy struck. Without warning, a frozen squid fell out of the sky right onto his head and knocked him unconscious. He was comatose for 2 full days following the squid assault, and probably had a lot of unanswered questions once he woke up again. To this day, no one has any idea how the squid got there, or how one fell on this poor fisherman. Also, why was it frozen? No one could find it. 9. Blackbirds in Bibi. Birds being in the sky isn't really anything new, but when the birds seemingly die out of the blue and then plummet to Earth, it raises a whole lot of questions. In 2010, in the small Arkansas town of Bibi, blackbirds suddenly began to drop dead out of the air into the yards and onto the heads of unsuspecting locals. Then, about 2 years later, it happened again. This locals are not entirely sure why dead birds keep raining on their little town, though many think it has something to do with fireworks or air turbulence. 10. Various frog and toad species in Leicester. In September 1953, in Leicester, the weather seemed to be getting pretty bad. The rain was flooding nearby ponds, there were high winds, and everyone was getting pretty soaked. But the worst was yet to come. Residents came out of their homes to find it was actually raining frogs and toads onto their cozy little locale for apparently no reason. Some scientists believe that high winds blew them into the town, considering the weather was so bad. Either way, frog rain has happened for centuries, even dating back to the ancient Greeks, and that just goes to show that what happened in Leicester is simply another weird, but relatively normal, act of nature. So, have you ever seen strange rain like this? Can't even imagine? Yes. But such strange rains can occur. Such things can happen. If you have a strange experience like this, don't forget to comment below.